Hello, everyone, and welcome to TMI, Too Much Information with Moondog. And today's episode is sponsored by our two sponsors this Christmas season. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, by the way. I want to bring up to stage, we got Aura, which is my online cybersecurity company that I use and that I've been using for quite a few months now. I think it's been about over 6 months now, and they've been great. They offer a whole suite of services like credit monitoring, VPN, spam blockers, and my favorite feature that they have is the data broker removal service. For those of you who don't know, there are companies out there that buy and sell our personal information, like not just our email addresses, but our personal telephone numbers, and in some cases our own physical addresses, to marketing companies, other organizations. And this is one of the reasons why you get a lot of spam mail and now spam texts. And now you can get yourself removed from them. You can, but by your own. But you have to go to each and every one of them and specifically request and first find out if they have your information, go through this whole formal process. But if you use Aura, with a one click of a button, they can send out notifications on your behalf to all of these companies all at once. And I got myself removed from over 30 data brokers, which I didn't even know I was on that many. So it's great. And what's important here is that you can try them out for free using my link, which you can see there on the screen right now. That is aura.com/moondog. And if you use that link, well, you can try them out for free for 14 days. And you can use all their services, including the data broker removal. So yeah, go ahead and use them. And if you do use that link, you help support this channel. So yeah, try them out and let me know how they work for you. And our new sponsor, Mad Hat Jerky, which is a really delicious jerky that was created by an 11-year-old boy in Pennsylvania. And well, he's not. I've seen he's not 11 anymore. I think he's probably in his teens now. But anyway, Mad Hat Jerky, all natural, very keto friendly, which is something that I appreciate them for, and just delicious. They offer quite a huge range of flavors, and they are also the sponsor of the prize today. Thanks to them, we've got a spicy original pack here, which will be going out to the winner of today's online prize, which I'll be giving you details about in a bit. But if you use that QR code or that link, if you go to Mad Hat Jerky, you can order a free sample pack. That's right. You just have to pay for shipping. Free sample pack, and shipping is not that much actually. So it's not like one of those those kind of scammy deals where the thing is free. You get these sunglasses for free, but the shipping and handling is like $15-20. No, this is actually they're not trying to rip you off there. Free sample pack, but also, if you use my code Moondog, you get 20% off when you sign up. So yeah, to order. So not just 10%, not 15, 20% off. So use my code Moondog. Try Mad Hat Jerky. They're delicious. I really like. I really prefer them over the mass market stuff. Your Jack Links and all that. That stuff's like eating leather. This stuff actually tastes like meat, so it's great. All right, everybody. Let's move on. Here's a clue. As I was mentioning, you can win this as a prize here. And here's your early bird clue. This is the logo of this company that we're going to talk about today. And this is their logo from 1972 to 1990. And it was created by Saul Bass, who's a famous designer. He designed the IBM logo, and I believe he designed also the I Love New York logo originally. So famous graphic designer from that period. And this was their logo throughout most of my childhood. And if you know who this is, what I want you to do is put a hashtag symbol and the two initials. I'm just looking for the initials here of this company in the side chat, and you'll be automatically entered into the software, and I'll be drawing the winner for this pack of delicious, spicy original Mad Hat Jerky to the winner today. All right. So let's get into the new videos that I've posted up this week. And I've posted up quite a few. It's been a busy December, to say the least. Now, I should point out, I don't know if anybody's noticed this here. This is a gift from my family for my birthday. And if you follow any of my socials, like if you follow me on X or everything, you saw a photo of this that I opened up the gift this morning. So this is I'm wearing it for today. And for those of you who are just joining me, the answer I'm looking for on the side chat in the software is automatically pulling the names for the drawing, so it has to be the correct way that it is spelled for the software. So I'm looking for the initials, not the name. So make sure that you post a hashtag or a pound symbol and the two initials of the name. So that's what I'm looking for the prize today, to win the prize. Okay, let's get into the new videos, shall we? On my Moondog 2A channel, I posted a review of the new Osite C, and this is their newest red dot. Now, Osite came out, they're sort of a spin-off company from Olight, which makes some really high performance and not overly expensive flashlights. And Osites are really well built, and for the price, I think probably some of the best value in terms of any red dots out there for pistols, or really for any weapon. But the thing that they last year, when they first came out with their first product, it was kind of groundbreaking and very unique because it was a fully rechargeable red dot that charged wirelessly using its protective cover, which is also its own battery reservoir. So you could just plop it on top of it and it would recharge the whole unit. But a lot of people, traditionalists, don't like the idea of having a rechargeable red dot because they're worried that, oh my, what if I can't charge it, the battery dies, I can't swap out the battery, and how easy it is to swap out a battery in the field is a whole nother question. But I suppose they're thinking, well, I can always carry a backpack full of like 100 batteries, I suppose. But in any case, so they answered that issue with the rechargeable battery by creating the new Osite C, which you see here, and that has, so you can see that in the image there, it has a battery tray. So for everybody who poo-pooed the original Osite because it doesn't have replaceable battery, well, now it does, and it has all the other features that the regular Osite has, including a multi-reticle. You could change the reticle, and yeah, I think it's great. It functioned totally, really performed well, and I thought it was a great upgrade, or at least a changeover. I still like the rechargeable. I have no issues. I had no issues with it. So, but in any case, if you want the chargeable, or sorry, the rechargeable version, then there you go. All right. I also posted a video of the. I should share a little. You know what? I'll share the little videos at the end if we have enough time, because I've got a lot of stuff to talk about concerning film history. So I'll go, if we have time at the end, I'll show you a little snippets of the videos. But the other video I posted up on my 2A channel was a review of the new CV Life Eagle Vanta, and hence the pun, Don't you Vanta? I know it's a little Yiddish sounding, but whatever. So that is the Eagle Vanta that you see there in the photo. I think it's probably their best LPVO, at least as far as my own personal taste in LPVOs are concerned. And I think that CV Life really is stepping up. And I hate to say it, I almost it's better than their reputation or the brand name. If this had some other brand slapped on it, it would go like, this is a great LPVO. But because CV Life has been known for so long for producing budget stuff, or some people will derogatorily call it airsoft grade, it's certainly not. It's actually pretty legit for a budget LPVO or a lower end LPVO in terms of price. There's some little issues. I wouldn't say issues, but little telltale signs that it's not like super premium grade that I can see in its construction. But if you don't want to pay for the extra little buffing of some edges and stuff like that, why spend another $1,000 for an LPVO? Anyway, that's my 2 cents anyway. All right, so moving on to my Moondog Reviews channel, I posted up. I reposted a video today of this Hotline 2000 lumen flashlight, because I actually posted the original video a few weeks ago, and in my initial test, I did not record my testing showed that it was under 2000. It was closer to 1500 lumens. Well, I revisited that test because I was getting some really weird readings on my testing equipment, and as it turns out, I had to recalibrate it. And when I ran this particular flashlight again through my testing equipment, lo and behold, it was well over 2,000 lumens, almost 3,000 lumens. So I thought it wasn't fair for me to post up that video saying that they didn't make it to 2,000 lumens. So I redid the ending of the video, and I redid the testing, and I posted it up today. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, and also you'll see at the end of this video, you get a chance to win one of these. So even more of a reason. So if you were thinking like, well, I don't really want to win it because it doesn't quite, live up to the 2,000 lumens, I was wrong, and I'm willing to admit that. This thing pumps out close to 3,000 lumens. So yeah, definitely a bright EDC, or a bright work flashlight. I would call it a work flashlight, or a work light, or a camp light, because this is a little too big. In comparison, here's an Olight Arc Pro. You can see how much bigger it is, and it is roughly at least twice the weight of that, but it is very well built. So you get a chance to win one of these, and I'll go over the details of the contest later in the show. All right, so let me move on to the next video. This is a video that I also posted just this weekend for the Wuben X4. And this, I don't know if I have a sample of that handy. I think I have it in the box. Is it? No, sorry. Anyway, you can see the video here. Let me show you the video real quick. That way you can at least see a better view of this, not just this still here. Despite appearances, this is not a device from a cyberpunk fever dream. This is the X4. It is a stepless 1500 lumen flashlight with both spot and flood emitters, and runs on a user-replaceable 18650 battery. And it's made by Wuben, and I am Moondog, an average EDC user with an above-average interest in making videos. And if you'd like to see me test the Wuben X4, well, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button right now, and we'll get started. So that is the Wuben X4. It's actually a pretty cool looking flashlight, and I hope I wasn't coming across as being sarcastic about that, because it really does look really sci-fi. And I do say that this hot light looked sci-fi. The hot light, I thought in my video I said the hot light looks sci-fi. The Wuben makes this one look traditional. I mean, the Wuben really does look like something that was built as a movie prop, because it is so intricate, and it has multi features, and it is a really cool looking flashlight too. Okay, so let me move on to my Moondog Go, which is my travel channel, and in that I won't be playing the video of that because of copyright issues, but it's perfectly fine. There was not a copyright issue, but it's just because anyway, it gets rather complicated. But when you post up videos on one platform, the music doesn't translate to other platforms. It gets a little complicated. But anyway, because this is being broadcast on multiple platforms and not just YouTube, so this is the reason why I didn't want to post this up and run afoul of copyrights. But this is a walkthrough of an exhibit, a multimedia exhibit over at the Metropolitan Museum of Art that I saw earlier this year. It's a pretty cool exhibit. It's about, there's a lot of cultural subtext to the exhibit itself as an art installation, but really it was intended to capture a moment, or at least the vibe of growing up in the 70s, and it was a sort of encapsulated, almost like a dream-like room that has fixtures and furniture from the 70s, and also video. So it's actually a pretty cool exhibit to walk through, and you should check out the video on my Moondog Go channel. All right, so I want to get your help, as I think I showed you just this real quickly. This is the new Arc Pro from Olight, and I got one of these to test out. And I'm looking for your thoughts as to a good thumbnail headline for this particular video. And this is the one that at least one of the ones I'm running with. More pro, less con, because this is the Arc Pro. But I'm kind of struggling for another good headline for the Arc Pro. And note that um, I have tested practically, I think, almost all of the other Arcfeld variants, and this is essentially what this is. It's a variant of the Arcfeld, um, and this has more lumen output plus an extra feature that the original Arcfeld didn't have. It has a flood mode. I mean, you can change the beam on this, so that's kind of cool. Hey, there we go. So TJ Fishing has a headline: "Is the Pro the way to go?" That's a good one. I'm going to screenshot that. And so if you have any other thoughts, it's about like, how is this better than all the other Arcfelds in the past? And this is an Arcfeld Pro, by the way. So this I reviewed a few months ago. Which I was carrying for quite some time prior to this. So this has I think a 1300 lumen beam, UV, and a laser. Well, this adds a flood as well as a spot beam to your selections on the dial here. And I asked this in my video, or at least my upcoming video, because this is actually the video review of this is coming up this week. But I asked a question in the video. So all of the Arc Pros, or at least the original Arc Pro, you can select the different modes. You got your spot, you've got your laser, you've got your UV, or did I have it? Oh, I had it backwards. So this is your spot, this is your laser, and this is your UV. And now they have your choice of spot, flood, and UV. And the laser is now on the side, by the way. So I asked the question, why couldn't they also include a lockout mode? Like, it would be nice if they could rotate this all the way. Since it stops there, why not keep on like rotating this and having a physical lockout? Oh, there's a little graphic there. A physical lockout of this device, which I think would be a nice little addition. And I don't know, maybe that's a good idea or a bad idea, but I thought that they should look into that. I wonder if they will. Okay. So let's move on. Here's our next clue in the Name the Brand contest. For those of you who are listening or watching, what I want you to do is, if you have the answer, disregard the little sub text at the bottom there. What I want you to do is write your answer on the side chat with a hashtag and the two initials that I'm looking for this company. And this company is a film studio which was founded on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood in 1920 by four brothers from Pennsylvania, and they produced the first successful talking picture, The Jazz Singer. So that was the original Jazz Singer with Al Jolson, and a little problematic nowadays with because of the prolific use of blackface in the movie. But then again, it was set in the turn of the century, so a lot of vaudeville included that kind of makeup and those kind of skits. So yeah, not a really popular movie to be showing in festival revivals nowadays. But they did do at least two other remakes of it. One I saw in the 80s. It starred Neil Diamond. So that was actually kind of interesting. So I don't know if any of you guys had seen the Jazz Singer. And there was I think a couple of songs from that album that I remember. But in any case, so this brand, if you know who this is, put in hashtag and the two initials of its name on the side chat for the Spicy Original Mad Hat Jerky is the prize today. So if you are, you'll be in the online drawing at the end of the show. Okay. So down the rabbit hole today. If you saw the thumbnail, if anybody could care to name the movie that I pulled that image from, but what's in the news today? And I kind of got sucked into it because I used to I used to live in LA, so I was kind of somewhat immersed into the industry, so to speak, just because a lot of people I knew had worked in movies and television, or their parents did, or there's you end up, if you live in LA, you can kind of end up knowing people who are in the industry in some way or other, because it's such a huge part of the economy in Los Angeles. But outside of that, I really try to avoid most of the details, because yeah, it's just, yeah, not that interesting to me. But I couldn't get away from this one. It was in the news. Netflix announced their intention to buy Warner Brothers, which I thought, okay, whatever. But it was sort of like $85 billion in stock. And then just a few days later, yesterday, Paramount Skydance, which I didn't register Paramount, that Skydance owned Paramount, but they bought it from AT&T apparently a few months ago. But Paramount Skydance announced that they are offering, they're initiating a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers to try to scuttle the deal with Netflix, because they wanted Warner Brothers Studios, and they're willing to offer $30 per share to the shareholders. So I don't know if you're familiar with hostile takeovers. What happens when companies want to merge or buy another company is that the leadership of a company will be in talks with the leadership of the other company, and they'll work out deals, and the deals usually involve, not oftentimes don't involve straight up cash, though that can be the case. Oftentimes, a lot of companies don't have enough cash to actually buy the company, but what they'll do is they'll work out a sort of a stock swap that they're willing to offer the owner, the folks who are the shareholders, stock in the new company at a certain ratio, the equivalent of, let's say, if it is $85 billion, they're really offering the shareholders of Warner Brothers the equivalent of $85 billion in Netflix stock in exchange for that company. And from my understanding, and I'm not certainly not a I don't want to get too much inside baseball on this, because I don't know all the details, and up to this point, until like this week, today or yesterday, really didn't care. But yeah, there's a lot more layers involved in this, and it also gets into the culture war, so to speak, because Netflix board is a little more on the left, and Paramount's board is more to the right, and it's owned by the scion of Larry Ellison, which is, I think he's like the third richest man. He founded Oracle Computers. But anyway, so Netflix wanted to buy Warner Brothers and is offering stock. And apparently Paramount has been wanting, or Paramount, really Skydance. And Skydance is this movie production studio that came out of that David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison, founded, I think, about a decade ago, most probably with his dad's money, or at least his money that he inherited from his dad or whatever. But I wouldn't say, I mean, he's entirely a Nepo baby, but you don't grow a company that quickly without some help financially, whether it is your family or other people, and there's certainly other organizations and entities that have invested money in to Skydance to allow them to buy Paramount. And I won't get too much into that because I don't really know much of those details. But suffice to say, apparently Skydance has been in talks, or at least had sent letters to the board of directors, the managers of Warner Brothers, expressing an interest to purchase them. And well, they didn't get much of a reply, or who knows what. They didn't get into it, but they apparently sent 16 different offers or something along those lines to Warner Brothers, and they kind of ghosted them. And then last week, Warner Brothers announced a deal with Netflix to buy them. And so the reason why this is such a big kerfuffle now is because Skydance is saying, "Hey, hold on, we wanted to buy you, and we were offering you more money. This doesn't sound, we don't." And their issue was that you should have at least, brought this up to the shareholders, because really the companies are owned by the people who own the stock. That's the shareholders. And Skydance knew that their offer was never brought up to the shareholders. So that's the reason why what they're doing now is called a hostile takeover, because they're not working with the management, with the CEO of Warner Brothers to make this deal happen. What they're doing is directly going to the public and saying, hey, all you shareholders of Warner Brothers, your stock was going for, I think, $25 or $26 earlier this week. It was the price. You know what? We're going to offer you an incredible amount of money. In this case, about $108 billion, which they're basically saying, we're going to offer you $30 a share for your stock, so that if you sell it to us for $30, which is a premium over what it was selling earlier this week. And their hopes is to get enough stock, or at least enough of the people who own the stock, and it's probably owned by big investment or organizations and entities like pension funds and who knows whom, I don't know, BlackRock or whoever, to get those people to say, hey, we could easily make 11% right now off of more 11% bump up on our investment by just selling it to these guys, because they're offering $30 a share. So that's what's going on right now, is that Paramount wants it, and it begs the question: why are these two big companies fighting over Warner Brothers so badly? And yeah, to be honest, maybe you guys know better why. But what I want to get into is, Warner Brothers is a very storied, legendary film studio, and it's actually home to a lot of the movies and franchises that are dear to me. So let's get into that. This is the reason I really wanted to do this episode, is because as I was looking through Warner Brothers, like, yeah, Warner Brothers has some good movies. What were they? So I Googled the most influential films, or the top films at Warner Brothers. And of course, when you do top films, it's just the biggest box office, which I wasn't all that interested in, because they listed the Barbie movie and Aquaman, which, let's be honest, I don't think they were great movies, but they made a lot of money. But I was more interested in just what I remembered them being a very important studio and putting out some really important films and film series. So let's get into that. And I think Portia Speedster just posted up there, Potter series. Yes, you are correct. And we'll get into that in a second. I would love to get your input as well. So let's start with perhaps maybe one of the more familiar to you guys, The Dark Knight. And this actually goes broader than this, but Warner Brothers owns DC Comics now. So all of the DC Comics IPs, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all of those superheroes, that franchise is owned by Warner Brothers. And the Dark Knight series, trilogy that came out, was really influential, because it brought out the whole gritty realism to superhero films, and is a counterpoint to the big bombastic films that are coming out from Marvel. And in many ways, I much preferred the Dark Knight. But then again, Batman sort of lends itself to that dark, gritty realism, and it didn't quite translate as well when they did the Man of Steel. Though I did like that movie. A lot of folks, didn't like how dark that it turned out with Superman, and don't get me started with Justice League, because that was just a hot mess. So yeah, they've kind of hit or miss, but certainly I think the Dark Knight series and Christopher Nolan in general is just brilliant. I mean, he's made some really great films and very influential films. One of them I didn't include here, but also was a Warner Brothers film, was Inception. And that was visually such a tour de force. And of course, I think the Dark Knight visually as well was also very, very groundbreaking and influential, and some really great performances. Of course, Christian Bale was great, and a pretty much a genre-defining performance by Heath Ledger as Joker. I mean, I think even more so, defining a defining performance, even more than like Jack Nicholson's Joker. or Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Though those were fine movies. At least the first Joker movie was, but the Dark Knight series I think is probably my favorite superhero series of movies. Um, but then again, I've always been a fan of Batman in general. Even though when you think about it, it's kind of a weird. He's kind of a weird superhero, but in some ways the most realistic in terms of somebody actually being able to pull off some of the things. So, to a point. He's a little too. He's got plot armor for sure, but yeah, everything when you watch The Dark Knight, apart from the fact that he's a billionaire and can throw money around like to make a bulletproof suit and to have an R&D arm that can make the Batmobile, it felt the most realistic of any of the superhero films out there, even more so than any of the Marvel films for sure. All right, so let's move on. The next big series, Lord of the Rings. So I don't know if you guys were big Tolkien fans, but I was a huge Tolkien fan since I read the Hobbit and the original Lord of the Rings trilogy back in middle school, and this particular movie, when I heard that Jackson was working on it, I didn't think he could pull it off because his previous films just weren't that epic. But the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy really just opened things up in terms of world building and showing that you could do a really great film that was fantasy based. And I've been a huge fan of fantasy films. I mean, I love the original Conan films with Arnold Schwarzenegger, or at least the first one. The other two were kind of anyway. And I kind of liked Willow, not really, but and I was the corny, the really bad, like Beastmaster and Krull, but I still watched them as a kid. Lord of the Rings was the first one that was like, oh wow, this is a great series, and it is. I can't believe that this came out like 20 years ago already, or more than 20 years ago, because in many ways it still stands up, including the special effects. And as Portia Speedster is just about to sort of beat me to it, here's the next one, and in the next two that he mentions here. For those of you who are a little bit younger who are watching this, you are probably most influenced by Harry Potter, because it is the whole long series was, I would say the millennials or Gen Zs, maybe more of the millennials, but certainly the millennials, Star Wars, in terms of a huge series that they grew up with. And I read all of the books as well, and I wasn't a huge fan of the first two Harry Potter movies that were directed by Chris Columbus, who did the Home Alone series. But the later Harry Potter films were so much better, and I saw all of them. So this is a very influential series, very influential from a generational standpoint and pop culture. And to Portia Speedster's point, The Matrix, who's a little bit older, who are either Gen X, especially Gen X, or millennials. The Matrix, very influential film. I mean, we got bullet time, we got lots of guns, and it probably exposed a lot of folks to the leather and club culture more than anything else movie in recent memory. And it's still a fun movie to watch, and certainly gets a little the first one especially, it may have lost a little bit in terms of some of the special effects, but it's still a huge fun movie to watch. And when I first heard about it, that Keanu Reeves was in it, I didn't like most of Keanu Reeves movies back in the day, but this one was actually the first one that I liked. And it really defined a whole genre as well. So for those of you who liked The Matrix and like the idea of cyber, it also brought like cyber and cyberpunk to the mainstream for most folks. Now, switching gears here, I'm talking about how influential Warner Brothers is. If you saw the thumbnail from today's show, that was from Goodfellas, and the Warner Brothers has a long history of gangster films, and Goodfellas is such a memeable film, and it really people just refer to it just as much as The Godfather in many ways. So the thumb of Ray Liotta laughing is from the I think the first or second scene of the Goodfellas movie. And talking about gangster films, we'll take a step back. Here is one that many people nowadays probably haven't seen, but you should. It's Bonnie and Clyde. And this came out. I didn't realize it came out in 1967. That's how old this is. But this really was defining, because this film changed how gangster films, or at least crime films, would be portrayed, and really set the stage and the tone for The Godfather, which would come out in the 70s, as well as other sort of gritty, realistic crime and anti-hero movies like The French Connection. And this really was such a shift from the more stylistic films of the golden era, the film noir gangster films, to have the sort of gritty realism of Bonnie and Clyde. And it's a great movie. So, you should check it out if you haven't seen it. A lot of folks that my age or younger have never seen this movie, but you should. It still holds up in my opinion. So, and speaking of genre defining, also in the 60s, Clockwork Orange, and one of the first popular films that come out of England. And this was, if you haven't seen it, it's one of the people often quote or refer to this film. Very artsy. Stanley Kubrick, before he did 2001 and a lot of his later films, but still. And I think I'm forgetting if this came out before or after Dr. Strangelove, but also one of the classic films that everybody will say is one of the great films that are out there. A dystopian alternative future in England. It's a very dark satire of crime, punishment, and culture, an indictment of that. And it's a little hard to watch for a lot of folks nowadays, just because people are overly sensitive to what is fiction on screen. But in any case, it is still a really great film that you should watch. It's one of those that film buffs will say is like one of the top 10 films that have been made, and very influential to film students. Let me just post up a couple of the comments that folks have posted on here. We got. I'm trying to figure out which symbol. It's Only Lee says, I've grown up seeing that damn symbol, so I'm not sure which symbol that is referring to. A Clockwork Orange it was way too strange for me. Not really a Kubrick fan. It's an art house. I mean, it really is more of an artsy film, because it's not realistic in terms of how I mean, it's like it's a 60s version of what the future will be. So if you can think about it that way, but in terms of how it was shot, it was very influential to much later films. And let's talk about that as well, because a lot of these films may be a little hard to watch now, or at least not as appealing to folks nowadays. But certainly for students or people who are film buffs, to watch something that people refer to even today in terms of they'll copy shots, rip-off shots from that, because it's so well done. For example, here's the perfect example of that. Warner Brothers came out with Citizen Kane, which came out, I believe, in 1940, and it is possibly the most influential film in the whole 20th century, because if you watch it now, it's a little harder to watch, or at least it's a little slow And but if you when I watched it in art school, in design school, in my film class, what you really need to do when you watch this film is to watch this film in contrast to another film of that same year or the year before, and just to see how different films were shot in terms of the position of the camera, of the acting and the lighting. If you watch Citizen Kane, you may watch it nowadays and go, okay, this is a drama about a businessman, a business tycoon. It's not that interesting. But it's really in how it was shot. It was really groundbreaking. In the camera work, especially, it would influence all the films even today in terms of how you position uh, actors on the screen. And if it wasn't for Citizen Kane, movies would be a lot more boring. I mean, it would take a lot longer, and uh, it is there's a good reason why it's considered the number one film by film directors. Like, when they poll movie directors as to what's their favorite film, or what's the most important film ever made, usually it'll be Citizen Kane, or at least it'll show up in the top 5 for sure. And let's not forget, Warner Brothers also we're going back into more of a like golden age of Hollywood. They were some of the first to bring out the swashbuckler, like this very famous film, Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. I saw this as a kid, and it was still fun to watch. And this was one of the films that heavily influenced George Lucas in creating Star Wars. In fact, there's a very famous sword duel scene at the very end with Errol Flynn and I think Basil Rathbone at the end of the film. And while it isn't the same speed and flair, it's of the duel with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can see a little bit more of that theatricality of swordplay in the prequels, but it certainly heavily influenced George Lucas in creating the vibe of what would become the Star Wars, the whole series of it. And it still holds up. It's a great film for the day. And yeah, what can you say? Warner Brothers, this just is another example of how Warner Brothers really is a legendary film studio in the history of Hollywood. And we're almost up to the end of this. This is my favorite film, Casablanca. And it's also, for many folks, listed, I believe, in various polls as the number one movie of the 20th century, or in the top 5 as well. You can't get more legendary than Humphrey Bogart, and Ingrid Bergman was just beautiful in the film. And it's so funny, if you read a little bit about the history of this film, it wasn't really considered. It wasn't expected to be a huge hit. And in some ways, it wasn't that huge of a hit at the time. I think it came out in 1941, just at the beginning of the war, but it really caught on, and because it gave a more positive spin, even though it was the dark days of the war. That we really hadn't, we'd had a lot of losses in the Pacific and the Eastern and the European theater, but it gave hope that we were on the right side of history in that Great War. And it is such a fun film to watch now, because it has both the romance aspect, of course, the relationship between Bogart and Ingrid Bergman's character Elsa and Sam, and but beyond that, it is a little bit of a thriller, a spy thriller thrown in there, and great music as well, and also there's really good writing. It's very witty dialogue in this film, and it's actually kind of funny. If you're a huge fan, if you're a fan at all of any classic films, you gotta put this. If you haven't seen it, definitely see it. Definite double plus for me. So see Casablanca. There's a reason why it's oftentimes a heavily referenced film. And who can forget, Warner Brothers is also the home of Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes. And it's a kind of a shame that this current generation of kids didn't grow up watching Looney Tunes, because I think they would be a little less um, uppity about hurt feelings if they watched a little more Bugs Bunny um, uh, and Roadrunner cartoons, because the just the sheer physical comedy is what's kind of missing in a lot of media, and especially kids media nowadays. And bear in mind, these cartoons originally, the ones the Looney Tunes, weren't made for kids. They were made for adults. They were just shown. They were shown on in as sort of prequels, or at least the in between filler between movies. And because in the early days of television, there wasn't a lot of content, or it's really expensive to make content. So for the local stations, they needed something to put on, and kids like watching cartoons, so they would put on these Looney Tunes, at, in the mornings or after 3 o'clock, like 4 o'clock when the kids got home. I would watch it when I got home, watch it on the local television shows, and I just grew up watching that. Everything I know about classical music and opera comes from watching Warner Brothers cartoons, and I'm kind of thankful for that. I feel bad that most of the kids nowadays don't have that same kind of grounding in music and sort of classic culture, or ancient culture now, I guess. Pick says, I still watch them on YouTube here and there. I kind of wish that would show up more in my feed as well. And maybe I should just start watching a couple. One of the things you can do with a YouTube algorithm is that if you watch three videos in a row of a certain genre, like I could probably, it's a good thing. That's a good point, and a good reminder to me. If you get tired of the stuff that you're seeing on your video feed, and it's a feedback loop. Because if you start watching even my videos, if you start watching 2 of my videos, then all my other videos will start showing up. And if you get tired of that, what you should do for any kind of content on YouTube, what you need to do is think about other genres that you haven't seen in a long time, or other creators, and just Google or YouTube them. I should Google them. Go in the Google's YouTube search, and like put up Bugs Bunny, and watch 3 Bugs Bunny videos, at least most of the way through, at least past the first 30 seconds, and hit like. And lo and behold, you'll start seeing more of those videos show up on your feed. So you have some control over the YouTube algorithm. So, which reminds me, if you're watching this right now, don't forget to hit the like button. So please do that right now. Hit the like button. And this video will be more likely shared, not just with you, not just, ganging up at more video shows of my videos, but a lot of folks out there have never heard or seen any of my stuff. So if you hit like, it's more likely that the algorithm will suggest this to other folks. So that's the reason why I encourage you guys to do that. All right, let's wrap things up. We'll get into the contest, and especially, I forgot to email everybody. I should do that right now, but you know what? The last month, I had this big contest where I was giving away Noblex red dot site, which is like a $400 red dot site. Anyway, that contest ended last month, and today is the day we're going to be drawing the winner of that contest. So, but first, let me just tell you about the 2 contests that are going on right now, and there's 2 of them. One of them is to win the Aquilifier, which is this cool LPVO, and it is a it is a second focal plane. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I was remembering it correctly. It's a second focal plane LPVO, which I actually like the reticle on this, because it does have the Christmas tree for those of you who want the Christmas tree. But at least for me, which I don't really use a Christmas tree all that much with a red dot, is that the Christmas tree kind of forms a triangle and helps sort of visually draw you to the center. And this is daylight bright as far as my testing of it. And you get a chance to win this. Also, there's a second contest going on, and I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. You could win one of these Hotline 2000 lumen flashlights. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, or towards the beginning of the show when I showed the video of this actually outputs close to 3,000 lumens, and it's fully rechargeable, and it has a side floodlight, and it has a spot beam on the front. So you could win both of these, either of these. Just go to my website at moondogindustries.com/contest, and I'll post up the link right now for those of you who are watching. There we go. So the question is, I guess from Ryan Pick, is your shipping address the same as your return address when you send prizes out? Not quite sure if that question means the shipping address that I'm asking you to post up on the contest entry page. But yeah, if you are filling out the form to enter the contest, make sure you put down as your address where you want the prize to be shipped to. Okay. Now, I don't need your, I mean, it's fine if you want it shipped to your house. That's fine too. Or if you want to ship to your office or whatever, just put the address to ship out to that you want the prize. If you win the prize, by the way, if you win the prize, where you want it shipped to. And I also need a phone number, not because I want to spam you with offers. It's because FedEx, UPS, they all require a phone number just in case they aren't able to deliver. That's the reason why I'm forced to ask for a phone number as well. So that's the reason why. So go post your enter the contest. If you go to the moondogindustries.com/contest, you'll see the two different contests and the two different buttons to enter. So you have to enter each of these contests separately because there's slightly different requirements to get an entry in those contests. But like I said, you could win two prizes if you're really super lucky. So, and a lot of you out there have won multiple prizes for me, so it's not all that unusual to win prizes. Okay, so also I wanted to point out that the fundraiser is still going on for my I'm raising money for my son's middle school trip to Washington D.C. this March. So if you want to take part in that, I've got a couple of items that I've previously reviewed, like this Hilux PRS scope, which is a couple of $100s, and you are able to donate to the school fundraiser, and I will apply that if you meet the price, which is like half of the retail price. If you donate to the fundraiser, I'll give you the scope. How's that? So anyway, you can find more details at moondogindustries.com/yard sale, and I'll post the link to that here as well. So yeah, Portia says, yeah, it's crazy when you expect. Yeah, I know. So Portia Speedster is one of those guys, lucky guys, along with Pick, who seems to win something from me every week, or at least every other week or something. So yeah, I am shipping stuff out to the folks, to you folks out there who are watchers of this show all the time, and it's great that I'm happy to share the wealth, so to speak. So here's a final clue in the Name the Brand contest before we get into drawing the winner for the Noblex. And in 1989, this studio was bought by Time Inc. And in 2018, it was sold to AT&T and later merged with Discovery Networks. It is the home of such iconic franchises as Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and DC Comics Batman and Superman, which we went through. So if you know who we're talking about, and should be pretty obvious considering this is what I've been talking about this entire show, you have the opportunity to win this spicy original Mad Hat jerky. So you just put in the hashtag and the two initials of the film studio that I mentioned, that I've been talking about all night, put it on the side, and you will be automatically entered into the software for the drawing. And let me just see here. Yeah, we got 5 entries tonight. So as Portia Speechers who says, since he's often watching the show and getting into the contest, hey, everybody who's out there right now could win, could possibly be the winner of the prize today, which will be the spicy original flavor of Mad Hat jerky. All right. And we'll draw the winner at the very, very end of the show, but let's pull up the entrance for the Noblex contest. And I'm going to share the screen here with the red dot entries. Got like 20 entries for the red dot contest. So I don't have a guest tonight, so I'm just going to do my own countdown. 3, 2, 1. And we'll see who wins. Okay, it looks like it's going to be Jackson Shoemate. Let me see here. If I'm looking through here, Jackson, where is that? Where is Jackson? There is it. Jackson Shoemate of Arizona. So I don't see him on the side chat here. Let me just highlight his name on my Google Forms here. But congratulations to Jackson. And I have your ship to address from his entry. So I'll be notifying Noblex to send you your red dot. So congratulations. All right, let me bring up our final contest today. And let me just change the screen here. And share screen with the giveaway tool. All right, so last chance, folks, on the side there. I'm going to be drawing the winner. So if you haven't already, this is the answer I was looking for. #WB. And for those of you fans of really cheesy teen dramas, this is also the initials. So anyway, let's see who wins the spicy original Mad Hat jerky. And the winner will be going to, or the jerky will be going to the winner, and that is going to be Pick. All right, congratulations, Pick. I think, did you win the one from last week? I can't remember. I don't remember if you were the winner from last week. But I have to look that up actually. But if you did, congratulations! You're going to get more jerky for Christmas. Yes, he did. He said he did. Excellent. Well, I hope you got that. Did you get the jerky that I mailed? Oh wait, sorry. So Pick says pay it forward, please. Oh, okay. So don't go away yet. Don't go away yet. I'm gonna spin the wheel again. But let me know on the side chat if the jerky that I sent last week has already arrived or not. But let me bring that screen up again, and I'm going to draw again, and we'll see among who's left. Who's this going to now? Porsche Speedster, you're the winner. All right. Yes, Pick says he did get it, and he ate it. Very good. You are a braver man, because did you get the Hatch chili, or did you get the screaming hot Carolina Reaper pepper one? That one's kind of scared me because, yeah, I'm not a huge. I mean, I like a bit of heat, a bit of spice, but yeah, I'm not much of a really hot spice eater. But I respect those who are. Oh no, he said he got the Hatch. He got the Hatch chili one, which is still kind of spicy, but certainly not in the same league as the Carolina Reaper pepper. So anyway, Porsche Speedster, congratulations. All right, so for everybody else, I'm going to be drawing some. Mad Hat's been nice enough to send me a huge sampler box. So we're going to be giving away Mad Hat chili all month long. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and enter those contests. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me on my special birthday episodes. This is one of the gift that I got from my family. So yeah, hopefully I won't be among the away team that doesn't make it back alive later tonight. So anyway, thanks again for watching. And I hope all of you have a great December so far. And I'll check back in with you guys next week before Christmas. But again, Merry Christmas, everyone. You be safe out there. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.